Hi, I'm JR.
And I'm Erin.
Welcome to the Shit Show.
Today we are going over hill climbing, general riding so far, costs of each kit, thoughts on the spindles, wheel kits, tunnels, brakes, and installation.
So let's get into it. Both kits come with very good manuals that are really easy to follow and details on how to tune your skid for your type of riding. We picked up our MtnTop from Mr. Darren Teal at Moto365. Your dealer should set up the strut length and the adapter spacings to line up your sprockets, so it's basically just bolts on. It's a very simple install and the MtnTop manual is very good. Chain tensioning is kind of intimidating until you realize it's basically the rear tire of your dirt bike, but I do see a few folks having issues. I highly recommend that you read how to do this first so you don't mess it up, because apparently a lot of people do. They have gone away with the mostly welded tube structure, and most of the parts are CNC'd aluminum. It's very well designed, it's very well built. I do like their choices of hardware. Most everything is 10, 13, and 17 millimeter, so my dirt bike toolkit works well without me having to add anything to it. We ordered our Yeti kit from Mr. Toby Till at Rocky Mountain Snow MX and had it shipped to our favorite motorcycle shop here in town. It came boxed up on a pallet with all the goodies wrapped up inside. The Yeti mounts with bike-specific spacers like a lot of other brands. The rest of the install was a tad different than most of the other kits, mostly due to the chain tensioner. It's got 3 points on each side where the chain tensioner slides in tracks. It moves super easy when the kit is not installed, but after installation, it's nearly impossible to adjust it when the bike or the track weight is on it. Having a jack on hand was really handy. Once I was able to get the weight off of the bike and the track, it was super easy to move. If you have to adjust your chain on the mountain, laying the bike on its side seems to work okay. Chain installation was a pain. You can't get your hands or even see the sprocket, so you're kind of doing it blindly. As suggested in the manual, a magnet was really helpful. It does have this cool spring-loaded chain tensioner that keeps your chain rattle to a minimum, so that's pretty nice. Belt tension is very straightforward. Yeti does provide you with a special lightweight socket for adjusting your track, chain, and belt, so that's really nice. You can use regular sockets too, but that little lightweight socket was pretty handy to throw in my toolkit. Install was a little harder as you have to set your soft strut length. Yeti does not give you a length for these as other manufacturers do. They instead have you measure your fork angle of your dirt bike and then adjust the strut rod to that angle. It's a great way to do it, but it's not idiot proof. I set mine up, and then as I read further on, I realized I didn't have the recommended clearance so that my exhaust would hit my tunnel, and I had to lengthen my strut a little bit. I just compensated for this by raising the forks and the triples about 1/2 inch, and it seems to balance out really well.
Accessories can add up quick, so sometimes buying a snow-checked or gently used 1-year-old snow bike can be a great way to get a deal. Our MtnTop was about $8,700 with graphics, chain, fit kit, plus tax. I needed to buy a wheel kit, gas can, scratchers, boogie wheels, and storage case. In all, it was about $9,835 out the door. Our snow-check Yeti was about $9,900 for us. Ours came with a wheel kit, cargo rack, spare belt, chain, graphics, and 1 year of Yeti care, which the way we read it basically covers 100% of all damage in the first year. We had to buy a gas can, which can get pretty expensive, scratchers, and a storage case, so total is about $10,230 out the door. That makes the MtnTop about $400 cheaper than the Yeti. We tried to outfit both kits as equally as possible. You can always save money by buying a holdover kit, cheaper accessories, used parts, things like that. Last year, and now this year, MtnTop is knocking $1,000 off the price of their kits to clear out inventory for the next year. Weaving in the trees, slow speed technical, high speed ditch banging, and cross-country rally riding, both these kits perform really well. For me personally, as a less aggressive rider in the trees, I feel like I had more confidence on the MtnTop versus the Yeti, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe it's because I feel like the MtnTop is more stable, One thing I did notice when we got these kits is the Yeti had tapered outside edges on the track where the mountaintops are squared off. When I got on the CMX the first time and they had squared off tracks, I feel like that helped me a lot more, just not tipping over as much as I used to. And maybe that makes a big difference. Maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. Both the kits are really quick to respond, but I think I might worry in the back of my head that the Yeti's going to tip me over into a tree well or have the ski lift, and I have zero control once that happens.
See, I feel like the Yeti is quicker to accelerate and it pops up on the snow faster, but we put the bike side by side in fresh powder and just basically drag raced, and they were the same every time. So they're the same quickness coming off the line. They both have about the same ski lift getting up on plane. And they both accelerate all the way out to the end of first gear at about the same speed. So I can't prove there's a difference. It's just what I felt.
We took both kits and tightened the limiter strap all the way to see how they climbed. On hardpack, the Yeti performed better, and I think that's because the suspension kept the track on the snow better and maintained traction. When comparing it to a timber sled Aero, the Yeti was most similar in keeping that ski planted with no rider input. It still had a little more ski lift, and I think that's due to the extra grip of the 126 track. The MtnTop had a little more ski lift due to the track losing and gaining traction rapidly, causing some ski lift. In the soft or deep snow, I couldn't really tell the difference. Both were equally as good and can climb really well, even at slow speeds and in the steep and deep.
I feel like the MtnTop spindle could be a little more rigid, but so far I don't really have any complaints. I have had a small issue with the MtnTop spindle sliding up on the fork tubes. I was told to keep tightening the clamps and riding it, and it will eventually find its happy place. Just something so that you can be aware of. Last year I did see that Alan had a CNC spindle that accepted the Yeti CMX wheel kits, but I guess he was unable to get that to market this year. Personally, I feel like a stiffer spindle and being more acceptable for other wheel kit options would be a nice feature. MtnTop has added metal fork guards to their spindles. I have ripped one of these off and bent it a few times, but since it's metal, I can just hammer it flat again, install fender washers, and keep going. They're about $60 each, so if you end up completely destroying them, they're not that hard to replace. The Yeti spindle is pretty simple, lightweight, and seems to be pretty tough. It feels very rigid, so no complaints there either. It mounts up just like the timber sled used to, and so it's pretty easy. They have holes that accept the Yeti or the CMX wheel kits. I would like to see Yeti or C3 offer some plastic or metal fork guard options. There is some controversy about using fork guards, but I've personally scratched a fork tube and have not had any issues with blowing fork seals when I am running fork guards. I personally dislike the MtnTop wheel kit. It's very expensive, but it is a huge improvement over the original timber sled design. Personally, I feel like the small wheels hang up on the ramp edges, and it can be very difficult to install it and move it around when you're on the snow. This is my experience, as many others don't seem to have this issue. I chose to install the X2D wheel kit, and for the most part, I really like it. It's much easier to install with one person, and you can ride the bike with the wheel kits installed, which is really handy. My only complaint is it's almost too big. It takes up a lot of space in the truck bed. I have a short bed in my pickup, and with those wheel kits installed, it doesn't quite fit around the wheel wells, and it puts the bikes very close together that the handlebars touch. So I have to keep the handlebars turned to one side when I tie them down to keep them from rubbing up against each other. With these wheel kits, there's no chance you're ever going to get 3 bikes into the pickup bed with the wheel kits installed, but you can just remove them when you're running 3 bikes. The Yeti comes with the Yeti wheel kit. It's very similar to the CMX wheel kit. It's really easy to install with one person. It works really well. It doesn't pivot, so riding with them installed is very sketchy, but overall, it's pretty cheap, it's really easy to use, and it works really well. I love the brakes on both of these kits. They look like a mountain bike brake with a small 1 or 2 finger lever that makes it easy to lock up the track. The Yeti has an adjustment screw that you should probably put some blue Loctite on to keep it from backing out and changing your preferred lever setting. The master cylinders are very small, so I was able to route them through the frame of our bikes and around the throttle body with only having to remove the gas tank. I've heard of a few cases where the brake lines can kink and stop functioning, or they get too close to the exhaust and melt. So take your time, make sure the line is routed in a way to avoid sharp bends and away from your exhaust. I put ours inside of a piece of coolant hose. Lots of options out there, but I had plenty of hose lying around, so that's what I did.
Overall, I feel like the MtnTop brakes are better, almost too good. I sometimes accidentally lock up the brakes when I go on the MtnTop from the Yeti. The Yeti almost feels a little spongy, and I feel like I have to pump it 1 or 2 times to get it to start working, and I still kind of wonder, is it working? Is it not working? We're on the MtnTop. I know when I lock up those brakes. The MtnTop tunnel is similar to Timbersled or CMX. It's a blank slate for you to customize your preferred gas can, tunnel cooler, and storage options. The Yeti, on the other hand, you're basically stuck with the Yeti options. That said, for us, we really like the setup. Yeti uses all the available tunnel space. It's got 4 gallons of gas and a cargo rack that you can bolt any storage container to. Everything can be removed in 20 seconds for those times you just want to shed 50 pounds off the kit and play around a little bit.
With the Yeti, a big concern is tunnel damage. They claim their new tunnel is much stronger than their previous tunnels. It is susceptible to damage in the front corners though. Now most of this is aesthetic, but a big upside of having metal side plates is you can take them off, hammer them flat, usually a few times before they crack. Yeti is doing their tunnel replacements as part of their Yeti program, and I do believe that if you were outside of warranty, they're still doing their $1,000 tunnel replacement program. For reference, both MtnTop side panels are about $700, so the Yeti is a little bit more expensive, but it's not something you should really have to worry about if you're keeping this kit for years and years. You should always be able to get tunnels for them for a reasonable price. The gas can sits pretty high on the Yeti, so I recommend running some sort of a side shooter exhaust or a deflector to keep the exhaust from melting the gas can. This can be a problem on many other setups depending on what gas can you run. For instance, this MtnTop running with a short exhaust on my KTM has already started to melt my Mountain Addictions can, so I had to put a longer pipe on this one. I did see last year that MtnTop had some prototypes made for the KTMs. It was basically similar to this, but it was all welded, really nice. And I thought they would be bringing them to market this year. Doesn't look like they did, but if anybody wants to make some that don't cost a lot, let me know, because I'll buy them. I'm still not a huge fan of the MtnTop ski. It doesn't really like to do sharp turns. General carving and general riding, it does great, but it doesn't hook up very consistently when you're doing tight turns and you want to whip around like a sharp corner. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The Yeti really likes to turn. If you want to do a sharp turn, it's really easy, predictable, and easy to control. Between these two skis and the Powder, I prefer the Yeti. The problem is, the Yeti does not like the crust. So we've had a lot of bad crust this year, bad ice layers. It's made that Yeti really not a great time. Once we get the softer snow, it's been great. The MtnTop is doing pretty well in the crusty snow. I still feel like the Timbersled or the CMX skis do a little bit better in the crust, but that's just my opinion, and I've been riding other bikes. They're not set up the exact same, so your results may vary.
I love the Yeti ski and Powder. Unfortunately, it's so bad in the crusty snow. I prefer the CMX ski just because the wide range of use is way better. When I'm riding the Yeti ski in crusty snow, I'm literally fighting the bike. If I'm side hilling, the ski just wants to grab and go uphill, so I'm constantly having to pull the bars to keep it straight. On flat ground, it just kind of wants to dart all over the place, which is fine for really confident riders that just kind of ride it out. I'm not one of those people, so it makes me go even slower, which doesn't help the situation. There have been a handful of times when we get up on ridges where it is just really, really hard pack and my arms get so tired from trying to fight the Yeti ski that we have to swap bikes, and that MtnTop ski is still better than Yeti in the crust. It's a breath of fresh air when I get on that bike in the crusty snow and I can steer again and start to go a little bit faster without the fear of it darting or wanting to catch and steer me up where I don't want to go or into trees. So I do like the MtnTop for that fact as well. It's kind of similar to the CMX ski.
I have seen both companies go above and beyond to take care of their customers. I love seeing this on the market. The MtnTop's warranty is 1 year for manufacturer defects. I have personally known people who broke their kits due to negligence, crashes, or out of warranty, and MtnTop has taken care of them. I don't know how much of this is their dealer and how much of this is MtnTop's goodwill, but I suspect your attitude goes a long way. Yeti Care is a 1 year warranty that covers any damage to your kit while you're riding it. They told me that they are focusing on customer service and do not want people to worry about tunnel replacement costs or other repair costs, and will warranty pretty much any riding damage under Yeti Care. Again, if you have any issues with either one of these two kits, reach out directly to your manufacturer, talk to them, be nice. They're all great people. They'll probably help you out a lot. The MtnTop has the more traditional 3 coilover shock setup with 2 on the skid and 1 on the main frame mounted to a linkage. It's a tried and true system. It's easily adjustable by changing the spring rates of the preload and the quick 3-position clickers to customize your ride. A limiter strap on the front is for adjusting how much ski lift you want to have. For most riding, I really love it. It soaks up the jumps and the chop and the trail. The small adjustment knobs do get iced up and are very difficult to use. I'd love to see a larger knob that's easier to use with gloves on. Yeti suspension is different than anything I'm used to. It's a single air shock with a low and high pressure side. The low pressure side is basically your mainspring, and the high pressure side affects your bottoming resistance. The track pivots around the bottom of the shock, and it has a limiter strap with 9 different length options for you to really dial it for what you want. You can go from a super planted feel of the Aero to the playfulness of the CMX. The shock has a small compression knob, kind of like the MtnTop, that's a little hard to use, and then a large, easy to use 3-position clicker for your compression. It is the best suspension I have ridden in the whipped out trails. Slow speed, it is so much smoother than any kit I've ever tried. High speed might be better, but there's too many variables and it all might be in my head. It's very subjective. Yeti uses their soft strut design for its 3rd shock. I don't know much about it, but it only looks like it moves about a 1/2 inch and it's not quickly adjustable. But I don't have any complaints about it though. How the suspension handles on jumps and drops is very subjective and depends a lot on how you land, whether you're on the throttle or not, the snow conditions, etc. Both kits handle the jumps and drops really well, and I have not noticed a significant difference between the 2 kits, so I can't really say which one's better.
Accessories can add up quick. I can't say.
A mountain bike brake with a small 1 or 2 finger clutch.
We're not talking about the clutch.
It is flipped upside down.
No, he just... You were just waiting for me to mess up.
Yeah!
I'm done.
How the fuck did that happen? How many times I fucked this up? I'm not here by myself, and it's like I can get through 1 sentence at a time. And I did suspension like 8 times. Suspension. Suspension. It is the best of suspension. It has the best of suspension. It has the best. Bullshit!
End scene.